already forgotten them. Well, I hear a lot of promises made in the storms of life. We need to remember the promises we've made. We want all the help of God. And we want His strength and might when we're in trouble. But we want to drive the ship and the boat when everything's okay. Folks, we need to stay committed to Jesus because He's committed to us. Whether there's a storm there, whether we're in the middle of the storm, whether we just got through a storm, or whether there's a storm on the horizon. We need to remember that. Don't just seek God in the midst of the storm. It's okay to do it. But when you find Him in the middle of the storm, you learn to love Him. And you learn to accept His love. And you learn to serve Him in your times, whether they're good or they're bad times. And you don't ever forget that there's never going to be a time when you've asked Him into your heart that He's not right there with you, even when you've forgotten that He's nearby. He loves you. He loves you. And He wants to move in your life. And every now and then, we just have to be reminded that storms will come and storms will go. But Jesus remains. We need to learn that. We need to remember that, don't we? And we need to be thankful for His faithfulness. And so you know how God asked us to thank Him for His faithfulness? With our faithfulness. With our faithfulness. With our commitment. With our commitment. With our giving our life to Him. We were working on a yard the other day, and I thought it was such a wonderful, unique thing. This neighbor came over and talked to one of our members that we were trying to help and said, "How much did you have to pay those folks for coming and doing that?" They said, "Well, it's our church family, and they're doing it because they love us." Well, one of our deacons, and I'm not going to tell you which one, said, "Why didn't you tell him it would cost him his soul?" Oh, yeah. Well, that's an ideal. Evangelism by chainsaw. I can think of some other way to get people saved with a chainsaw. Okay, no, don't digress now. But it reminded me of something that Moody said in Chicago a long time ago. When a guy was struggling with life, and he was struggling with all the problems of his life. And he says, "Oh God, I don't have anything to offer you. I don't have anything to give you. I don't have anything worthy, God, to give you." And Moody looked at him and said this. He says, "It doesn't take much of a man to come to God, but it does take all that there is of Him." And that's just like us, isn't it? It doesn't take a tremendous gifts that we have. It doesn't take all the wonderful things that we can do for God. But what God is looking for is someone who will give all of themselves to Him and trust Him. So maybe in the midst of the storms of life, you've learned that you can't do it all yourself, and that Jesus is there for you in the midst of the storm, just like He was for His disciples. You say, "But I didn't get what I wanted." Well, bless your little hearts. You know, do you think God gets everything He expects of us? Maybe it's time we start serving Him just because we love Him. And we give Him our lives and all of ourselves because we love Him. And we understand that He's there loving us, even when it's a difficult lesson we learn. God's calling. And He may be calling on your heart today. So storms do come, storms do go, but Jesus is always there, and He's here today. And He's waiting on you who haven't given your heart to Him or your life to Him. He's challenging you. Trust me, even in the storms of life.